Hi, everybody, and welcome to Saturday and a really raw post yard work version of me today. How you doing? Today, we're going to continue talking about fears and the impact that fears have on our emotional composition and where those fears come from and some of those things that drive those fears. So, let's start off by a gentle kind of reminder and connection way back to when we started this is that the two sides of emotional composition, the negative emotional composition, those are driven by fears. So when you talk about emotions like overwhelmed and frustrated and angry and all those rage, hate, really dark ones, those are all fear-based emotions. That's from the Abraham Hicks emotional composition scale. The other side of that, the solid emotions, the joy, the satisfaction, contentment, happy, all of those emotions are driven by love. So when you are spinning a generalized feeling of love, you're going to raise your emotional composition and drive out some of those fear pieces. When you're operating from and have a lot of those fears locked into you, unfortunately, that compresses your emotional composition down in that lower scale. And getting your arms around those fears is really, really critically important for you. So today I'm going to have a challenge for you, and then we're also going to talk about how we start to get our hands around in the two very different approaches to dealing with these fears. So, if we track all the way back, we've talked about gratitude and forgiveness and giving and meditative practice and laughter and a lot of things. And all of those are designed to raise your emotional composition out of those negative fear-based emotions. So this last little piece, this getting rid of that fear and manifesting new thoughts, love-based thoughts that really drive that and keep that up there, that's going to be really, really, these few days are going to be really important for us to end our 40-day journey on. So let's talk about the two strategies that are used to get rid of fears. One of them is called clearing, and that clearing is releasing it. Plain and simply saying, look, I'm not going to be impacted by that fear anymore. I'm not going to, not going to rule my life. It's not going to influence my life, and I'm going to let go of that. That takes some strong meditative relief and release to get rid of that. It takes some real focus to say, you know what, I'm going to acknowledge that fear, and I'm going to let that go. I'm going to acknowledge that fear and let it go, and it takes some very strong repetitive practice in your meditation to let go of that. The other process of dealing with our fear is through courageous dealing with it. I mean, plain and simply, courageous confronting of that fear. And that is, you know what, here's what that fear is, and now I'm going to just face it dead square head on, and I'm going to deal with it from a very courageous standpoint. The people that use both of those strategies, both the release and the courageous confrontation of those fears, tend to be able to release most of those fears very, very quickly and are able then to build the skills to release them and to confront them when they come back. I'll share with you more as we go on, but you know what? There are some of those fears that I have to deal with relatively regularly. Not that they come in and they really drag me down, but when I feel them starting to creep in, I'll make a purposeful, courageous confrontation of it or a purposeful release of it to get rid of it and get my emotional composition, my energy, and all that stuff back up. Here's the challenge. What I'd like you to do in your journal, as you're noting everything that I've asked you to note throughout this process, I'd like you to start identifying a couple of your fears. And this is going to be one of those cases that the first pass at this is going to be pretty cursory. And it's not going to be until you really concentrate in your meditation that you start getting down into some of the deeper fears, some of the really super fears, the driving fears. That's what we're going to talk about a little bit tomorrow, is digging deeper into that fear set. So if today that you note that you're afraid of spiders or don't like the dark or don't like being alone, that's okay. But note, that's not the end of this journey. Those are pretty cursory. And, we all have those cursory ones, but we're going to dig a little deeper and we're going to find the ones that are really, really holding our emotional composition down. I hope all of you had an outstanding Saturday. I hope you're all surrounded by family and friends and love. And I hope the same for you tomorrow. I look forward to talking to you tomorrow as we talk about this continued journey to awesome and our approach in fears and manifesting good.